Okay, going in 3.
Hi, my name is Lance Constantine, and I want to welcome you to another segment, another show. Today we're going to be really focusing on what it means to be a social entrepreneur and a leader in the community. I have a phenomenal guest, and this woman is doing a great job in the Richmond Hill area in Ontario, and I know all over the world. I want you to help me to welcome Heather Skoll. Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lance. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So before we begin, I really want the audience to know a little bit.
Sorry. Don't swing the chair. It's making a noise.
Okay, sorry. Just excited.
Start again.
Okay, from the top?
Yeah, from the top.
Okay.
3.
Hi, I'm Lance Constantine, and I want to welcome you to another show. Today we have an awesome topic that we're going to discuss, and the discussion will be about social entrepreneurship and leadership. Today I have a phenomenal guest, Heather Skoll, who's going to share with us her beginnings of, community engagement and social entrepreneurship. I want you to help me welcome Heather Skoll.
Thank you, Lance.
So before we begin, I really want you to share your story and how you started working in the community.
It's an interesting thing and a perspective because I actually started in the community in my house. And I stayed in my house for a number of years while my kids were young. I had a yoga studio and I saw clients one-on-one. I do a type of therapy work. And one day I was sitting in my yoga room and it dawned on me that there were so many youth who came into my classes that expressed how much that mentorship meant, because it wasn't just physical yoga,
Right.
that I thought I have to get out of my house
Right.
and do something more. My house actually had been leaking for a long time, then it flooded. My yoga room flooded, and I thought that was a sign.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of stepping out and saying, okay, what's next
Yeah.
and what's more?
Now you mentioned the word mentorship, and that's a huge topic right now in the community, and a huge need for young people. I am a product of really great mentorship, and I'm honored to provide mentorship for youth as well. What does that mean to you? And what are some of the needs have you identified while running your programs at the house and in the Richmond Hill area?
It's a great question. The kind of mentorship that I learned that I provided through working with youth was actually that kind of emotional support. That was a natural fit because of the therapy work I did. But the kids who were becoming teenagers would come into the yoga room, and sometimes they'd be upset, sad, and the physical stuff wasn't going to happen without a few moments of discussion of like, what's up? What's happening? And being able to discuss it in a safe location and find out, and sometimes it had to do with, they were young girls between 14 and 16, so sometimes it had to do with boys.
Right.
And we would talk about that. And then they would take that away with them, along with the yoga skills and also a feeling of, oh, somebody really understands where I'm coming from. And there was that emotional piece.
Yeah.
And then as a mentor, the other part is always a skills piece. What can I actually teach you that I already know?
And I love that. I love that you focus also on the skill component, because that is also important for personal development. And, I've been able to do some research on the work you're doing, and I love the work that you're doing. It's phenomenal. And I know that you're the founder of Life Notes Wisdom.
Yes.
If you can share with us, what is that, and what does that aim to do?
Life Notes Wisdom aims to take somebody's journey and be able to share it with someone else who might be on a similar path. And rather than a person moving blindly through their own path, that they actually have someone who can guide them. Say, I've been there, I've been in a similar situation.
Yeah.
One of the paths that I help to guide people with is I had children who had some special challenges. I'm able to work with people who have children with special challenges.
That's awesome.
And although I might not know the exact obstacles they might face, I'm able to deal with how they might feel about when they come up against the school, how would they feel when they come up against family, and also other situations in the community when you have a child who doesn't necessarily fit the normal profile.
Could you give us an example of some of the things that you have done, and some stories of just that, helping youth overcome those challenges?
Okay, so some of the youth that I've taught came in bunches of friends.
Okay.
So they all come into the yoga room week after week, and then there was one week in particular where the group came in, but I noticed that there was one kid over on this side of the room, where all the other ones were over here. And I just said, "Stop, everybody sit." And I said, "I see something here that doesn't seem like it's quite right. Can anyone identify what that is?"
Wow.
And so, one of the kids said, "Yeah, we're all over here, and this girl, we'll call this girl Alice for now." So Alice was on this side of the room, and they're over there, and they're like, "She's over there." So I said to Alice, like, "How do you feel about it?" And she said, "Not very good."
Wow.
And I asked the other kids, and they're like, "Well, not good, but we're not sure why this is happening." So we had a discussion.
A discussion.
We had a discussion, and we talked about what may have happened, what someone might have said, and then at the end, really, the idea was, "Alice, do you want to move to this side of the room?" She said no, but the whole group then moved over to Alice.
Yes.
So that there was like a physical manifestation
I love
of
that.
support that was actually needed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only the discussion, but it was also physically bringing people back together.
That is so phenomenal, because they need that responsive, inclusive environment where they can share and share their feelings. And I love how you focus on that. And so as an entrepreneur, what are some of the challenges as a entrepreneur that you notice, and how did you overcome? Because there's a lot of people out there that have business ideas that want to give back to the community. What are some of the challenges that you face, and how did you overcome it, and what kind of words of encouragement would you give to someone that is starting?
I would recommend that whatever idea you have, that you get out in the community and find a way to network. Network. Ask people in your network, "What do you think of this idea? How would that apply to you? Would it be something you'd be interested in?"
That's amazing.
People always know people, and many people are so happy to share their network.
Yeah.
And then they would perhaps connect you to somebody who you might have a conversation with. Sometimes you have no idea why you're talking to this person. Someone just said, "You've got to talk to so-and-so."
Right.
And you do, and you go, "Wow, we actually have some commonality."
I love that. Networking, getting to know people, getting yourself out there. Okay. So and then finding that commonality to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
Discover that the idea you had may grow, and sometimes you discover that that idea changes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you say, "You know what? That idea is not something that will naturally grow in this community. Maybe I will leave this one for now
Yeah.
and move my time into something else."
Yeah, and I love that. Now, I want to go back to a conversation that we had, I think about a month ago. We were on the phone and we were having an awesome discussion on business and entrepreneurship, and the discussion that we were having is that the term social entrepreneurship is on the cusp of being redefined. And so I want to get your perspective of what social entrepreneurship is to you.
Thank you. Good question.
Yeah.
I believe that the original kind of definition of social entrepreneurship came out of people who were in India, who were in Kenya, who were doing things that actually improved the lives very, very greatly of people who were disadvantaged in some way.
Okay.
Things like needing clean water, things like needing freedom. So social entrepreneurship in that definition came out of those who rose to create a solution that engaged possibly two different populations, maybe one that had resources and one that did not, and bridged them together in some way. That was the original definition. I believe. What I see happening today is that definition has gotten changed or shifted in some way.
How so?
That a social entrepreneur is maybe looked at as somebody who's doing a business, whether it's profit or non-profit, for good. And therefore it doesn't mean it has to be in a country that is considered disadvantaged in some way. So we can create a social entrepreneurship project anywhere. And the basis of it is still that it has to do some good. And there's still an element of taking a situation that needs support with others who may have those resources and bridging those together in some way.
I love that. So you're saying that the original term for social entrepreneurship meant that you were giving or contributing to the disenfranchised in other countries, opposed to what's happening today where it could be anywhere that you can start it. That's interesting. It's a thin line.
It is a thin line, and there were people from other countries doing things for different countries.
Interesting.
And there were people within those countries doing things for their own countries in huge ways. I'm thinking as well of Muhammad Yunus,
right,
who did the whole thing with microfinance. And
right,
he was probably one of the original big forces in
I don't think people out there may know what he did.
Mm-hmm.
If you can expound on that a little bit, just to share that kind of what he done, so that people can have an understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is something I've recently really learned a little more about, so I can't say I can tell you 100% all about it. What I understand is Muhammad Yunus saw the need for funding to be made more widely available in the world, and set it up in an internet base where people can connect in with requests for financing from people who would provide that financing. Some of the criteria would be, what's your project?
Yeah.
Who are you? What have you done as far as checking out to see if this is viable? Do people need what you're suggesting?
Right.
What do you see might be the benefits from it?
It's very powerful. Mm-hmm. Now, I was, as you were speaking, I was thinking about, and I've been thinking about this too, there's such a thin line between running an organization and then calling yourself a social entrepreneur. What would you say the difference is on that topic? Because I did some research with the links that you shared with me. What would you say is the difference between an organization and social entrepreneurship?
I think the definition and the difference is in the entrepreneur themselves. So a social entrepreneur is really seen as being someone who's more selfless, and that the doing good comes first. That goes beyond making profit. It goes on beyond being an organization that is dealing only with bottom line. So it really comes from the social entrepreneur themselves.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, we share, very similar pathways when it comes to developing people in the area of public speaking. And I've been doing this for several years, 8 years. But I started out when I was 18 years old. I'm 26 now. And I had the opportunity of working with thousands of youth in Ontario and around the world in developing their public speaking skills. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've noticed, and it's stated, that public speaking is one of the world's #1 greatest fears.
Yes.
So, 41% ranked public speaking as the #1 fear, over 19% who said death. How would you encourage someone that wants to venture off in the area of public speaking? Maybe they have a business and a vision, and they don't know how to communicate it to others. And what strategies would you, I guess, share with people to help them overcome that fear so that they can share their business idea or just network with people?
I believe that what you have as a product, Speakers University, is an excellent way to begin,
Okay.
especially in the realm of youth.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm a Toastmaster.
Yeah.
And when I started Toastmasters, I had a vision and a goal. And initially it was to get on a big stage and speak in front of many, many people. And that goal soon became the wayside. And what I realized, the benefits that I was getting from practicing as a speaker, from getting feedback, and from being in a community of people practicing and working on their skills, was I was able to take an idea, speak about it, have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the end was always my challenge. Still a challenge.
Interesting. Very interesting. I want you to go deeper in that.
Yeah.
What do you mean by the end?
Oftentimes we speak
Yeah.
and we start on a topic and we veer off onto something else and we veer off onto something else and we don't come back to our point.
Right.
And the time rolls on and the audience gets bored.
So how do we do that? How do we take the audience? We veer off, we get passionate, we're working with our nerves a little bit, but how do we get right back to the central focus and the central point? Because a lot of people are struggling with that.
Absolutely. Keep going back to what you want the audience to take away. It's not about me as a speaker. It's not about the speaker. It's really about the message and what the audience is going to take away. So if you do veer off, if there is a story you want to share about a specific point, think about what is in it for the audience and am I delivering that to the audience, and always come back to that.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and I hope you're taking notes on, some of the wisdom that Heather is sharing with us today. It's phenomenal, and I know that your idea, your business, your vision will come to light when you take that step to network and to communicate it effectively. Heather, I want you to share, any words of encouragement or wisdom with the viewers. Any last things that you would like to say to encourage, dreamers out there?
Absolutely. I'd like to bring this from my program called the PATH program, and that is to find, then face, and then follow your path. And that's the path to your dreams.
That's awesome. Heather, I want to thank you for joining me on this show. Where can we find you? Where can we reach you?
My website is lifenoteswisdom.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Life Notes Wisdom.
Wow. Very inspiring. I had a really great conversation with you today, and I know that many people out there are going to be inspired or are inspired right now. And dreamers, I want you to continue to be on the path that you're on. Be inspired. Be the change that you wish to see. And we'll join with you on another segment, another show. And I want you to have an awesome week this week. Thank you. And I'll do Thank you.
Great.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun. I feel like it went so fast.
It went so
It's like
fast,
really,
yeah.
really
And that's how it
fun.
usually
And there's like, oh,
It's just like,
good. And there's more. So
there's so
I'll
much.
come back again.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we
We'd
can
love to have you
talk
on
about other
again,
stuff,
and we'll just like a series kind of thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, be happy to. Great. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. Good.
So
this was airing live?
Thank you. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. And is there somewhere I can find it?
Yes, I'll give you the list. It's on our website.
Okay.
It will be recording this thing.